There we go. Welcome, everybody. This is our first business call in this series that we're doing. We're doing business calls every Thursday, alternating between days and nights so that we can accommodate all different time zones, countries, because we are worldwide now, which is so exciting. And yes, all of the business calls will be recorded. So if you happen to miss one or you know someone who should be here, but maybe they couldn't make it, you can always pass the recording on to them. But what we're doing on these weekly business calls is kind of a deep dive into, more about the Young Living business, some different things, that you need to know for your business to grow, to develop as a leader, and to really just, set the tone for 2021 and launch it off. So I'm super excited to have all of you here. If you don't know who I am, my name is Tracy Black. I live in San Diego with my three boys. I'm a Crown Diamond and just super thrilled to be here. And today my co-host is going to be the amazing Stacy Cook, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Thank you, Tracy. I'm really excited for this call because we just did some personal development. I'm Stacy Cook, and I live in Chicago with my son and my husband and my new puppy, which is like having a baby. So I'm really excited to share with you today.
Oh, awesome. You guys, really be ready, get your notebook out, and just be ready to take notes, be really present here because we're going to be sharing so many amazing things. And I love that we're kicking off this business call series with personal development. So we also have other co-hosts who are going to be sharing a little bit later on this call, all about personal development, what we learned at a recent conference that we just attended. But let me just tell you, personal development, I think, is amazing. It really should be one of the first things that you do, whether you're just coming into the business, whether you've been in the business for a few years. It really is one of the most important things you can do, simply because, right, as we learn, we grow. So I get your notebook ready. 4 reasons why. This is how I like to count things down. 4 reasons why personal development should be a priority for you. Okay, like Stacy said, it should really be like a cornerstone. Number 1, and this might not be one that you're like, I don't know if I'm excited about this one. It forces you out of your comfort zone. It really does. Let me just tell you, okay, whether it's online learning, whether it's reading a book, whether it's listening to a podcast, whether it's, going to an event like Stacy and I just did, it really makes you get out of that comfort zone because you learn something, right? And you're like, ooh, I really need to try this. So can I give you an example? This training that we just went to, it's called GoPro, and it's by Eric Worre. So if you don't have the 4-Year Career or GoPro by Eric Worre, 4-Year Careers by Richard Blissbrook, those are probably the 2 best books that I would recommend as a beginning network marketing, business entrepreneur like you all are, or even if you've been in this business for a while. I think it's great to go and reread both of those books. But Eric does this event every year called GoPro. So we'll be sharing in the latter half of this call some of the things that we learned. But one thing that he made us do outside of our comfort zone is make snow angels in a public place, right? You guys, how is making snow angels in a public place even relevant to personal development? I'll tell you, it gets you out of your comfort zone because people are looking at you, right? And you're like, yep, I'm at the park right now with all these kids and parents around, and I'm just making snow angels right now. But the point is that in business, you have to get out of your comfort zone, right? If we stayed in our comfort zone, it would be really hard to grow. It'd be really hard to get out there and try new things. And so it really was a great example of just doing something so silly and so simple, got us outside of our comfort zone so that it set that mindset, right? That, you know what, sometimes in business, you got to do that. So it's just really important to do it. Second, and this leads from getting out of your comfort zone, is it helps to develop your strengths. Okay. Again, no matter what the mechanism, from books to podcasts to events, going to an event in particular, I think, is the best thing, especially when it's in person, because you're present, you're taking notes, you're not distracted by your phone or your kids or your computer. You're there immersed. Like events really are, in my opinion, the best thing that you can do. But you listen, right? You develop your strengths. You learn how to improve on things. Um, you learn to nurture your strengths. You learn like what I do really well. What are some things I can do better? And it's just a really great growth opportunity there. Number three, personal development really helps to boost your confidence. I can tell you, as someone who didn't love public speaking, that was me, right? Um, that was one thing I was like, I really need to work on this, right? Whether it's in front of a small class or whether it's in front of, hundreds of people, I really need to develop my public speaking, right? And so it really does boost your confidence when you go to a personal development training, again, whatever that looks like, book, podcast, event, and you learn, okay, these are the skills that I need. These are the things that I can work on and improve. And I will tell you, it has definitely improved my confidence because I've done that personal training. And then fourth thing is it helps you to improve your self-awareness. And I think this is kind of getting back to the confidence thing as well. You know, I think that's really important to understand in any business is, we fail, right? Like I will tell you, the first class I ever taught, total bomb, right? Didn't sign up a single person, major fail, right? And what I learned through just being in this business, being an entrepreneur, personal development, is that failure, right? Which is like my old sort of like mindset when I was younger. Failure doesn't mean you're bad, you're terrible. Failure means an opportunity to learn, like a baby, right? Like when a baby falls down, learning how to walk, we don't go, you're a failure, right? We go, oh, all right, so take a step here, fall down, take a step here, fall down. It's just like that. That's part of the process. And so, personal development can be such a great self-awareness tool, right? So if I'm like, ooh, I can really tell this is an area I really need to work on, I'm going to go align myself with some personal development, book, podcast, training that's going to help me get better in this area. So personal development, whether it's for your business, for parenting your children, just like life in general, even like finances, right? Personal development can be huge. So those are the four reasons why it really is important to make personal development such a big part of your business strategy, especially with Young Living. The other thing that I will say is, this is like my fifth bonus, is the community. Okay. And I'm going to be totally vulnerable. And this is, again, me being self-aware. When this last event came up called GoPro, I was like, I've heard this before. This is how I know when I think I know. I don't know if you guys have teenagers, but I have teenagers, right? And especially one will be like, I know. I'm like, no, you don't know, right? But I get in this mindset myself. So I don't know where he's learning this from, but I will say, I know, I know this, but I will tell you, like going and being present and learning again, what I realized when I was at the conference, I was like, yeah, I may know, but did I implement? I may know, but did I actually follow through? Right? I may know, but do I feel like I'm doing it really well? Like it was such a great self-awareness, like really being introspective, looking back, going, ooh, there's so much more that I could be doing better. And so even if you've been to something before, you've read a book before, maybe you listened to a podcast session before, there's something about hearing it again that your brain, your mind hears it a little bit different, right? And so then you're like, oh my gosh, yes, that really resonated with me. I was ready to hear that information. The other thing is, what I love about events and going with people is they will say something differently than maybe what the speaker had said, and something clicks in for me. It clicks in and I'm like, that's it. That's what I need to work on. That's the thing. And I often say this, that paid for the whole training, right? I came here thinking I knew everything. I don't need this, right? I'm just here. And then somebody will say something either from our group, right? Or even just the speaker themselves. I'm like, yeah, I need to learn to be a student, right? And it's just such a great reminder of that. And then the community portion, I will tell you, when you can do personal development with a friend, this is why we often encourage getting a running buddy or doing an event together, reading a book together, doing a book club. We have these opportunities because there's something about doing it with a friend that is so motivating and encouraging. And you can talk about, right? Like, what resonated with you? Can you help me with this? Right. And so that self awareness, right? That confidence, I feel like it becomes exponential, right? Because you're getting feedback from someone else, which I think it can be so, so effective. So, those are some of the reasons why I think it's so important to make personal development a priority. If you haven't yet, it's okay. Just this is 2021, right? Which I think is great. Set a priority, do it now. Join a book club, go download an Audible book if that's how you enjoy learning, right? Commit to something this year. In my opinion, I think it's great to be committing at least once a quarter to some kind of event or training, just so that you're keeping up your skills. Okay, I don't want to hog the whole time. I'm going to pass it off to Stacy for a bit, and then we're going to have our other ladies share in what they learned as well.
Thank you, Tracy. You covered those so well. Those are such good reasons. Um, One thing that Tracy touched on, and I really want to reinforce, is that personal development, it's really a lifelong endeavor. So, just because you go to one event doesn't mean you're done or you read the one book. And to just give you an example, the first real event like that I went to was about 4 years ago with Tracy and another leader on Tracy's team, and it was the most powerful women in network marketing. And when I heard that title, I was like, yes, absolutely. I want to be one of the most powerful women in network marketing. I'll go. I'll show up. Let's do this. And it was awesome. We learned so much, brainstormed so much, all those things that Tracy said about going to an event. And as the three of us, we developed a whole new system we implemented after that. Like that night in the hotel room, it was just super, super powerful. So come the next year, everyone's signing up to go again. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go. I probably don't need to go. I've already heard all of this, exactly what Tracy was saying. But I was like, I want to be a good example for my team. I want my team to go. So I better show up, and I'm going to have so much fun seeing all my cross-line friends. So it will be great. And all of those things did happen. But the biggest thing for me was that I still learned more. I still found new actionable strategies to implement. We're always growing, right? And so it's something that is worthwhile to always be investing in. And like Tracy was saying, it doesn't always have to be an event. It can be a book, a podcast. There's so many different ways we can invest in our personal development. But I will say, I feel like those events are like plugging yourself in. They're like getting a recharge. The energy you have after something like that, where you're involved with so many people, also focused on their own growth, sharing so many ideas, is just, it's kind of intense. But it's awesome, intense in an awesome way. So I highly recommend that. And what I always think about is I'm not okay with where I am today, right? Like where I am today is great, but I have goals. I have growth goals. I want to grow my business. So I can't stay how I am today. I can't stay the same person. I need to grow. So if I want to get to somewhere else, I need to do the things that force the change. And like Tracy was saying, really stretch me outside of my comfort zone. Because if I sit here in my comfort zone, I am not growing at all. Like my business is not going to grow. If I just keep doing the same things, I'm going to keep getting the same results, and that's going to keep me right where I am. So those personal development resources that you can plug into are the things that really help push you. And for me, like specifically when I think about my Young Living business, it's like none of us decide to do the business and already know how to sell essential oils, right? Like no one's been doing that before. So you have skills that you need to learn. And some of that we get through, our team and a lot of education on product, but this is also a certain kind of business model that you probably are not familiar with. I wasn't familiar with it at all. So there's so many different aspects of it that we can learn more about and grow within. And in some ways with network marketing, you're kind of your asset, right? So you're that bridge that helps people get from, just learning about something to actually using something. And so you have to sharpen that and hone that and really continue to grow your skills. So that is just a few of the reasons I think that, investing in personal development, whatever it looks like, because I know that events can be hard to get to, but actually right now it's really awesome because they're all virtual. So no excuses there. um, and if you are doing this business, you're going to need some write-offs at the end of the year. So invest in training for yourself and then write it off. It's fantastic. Um, so that's what I wanted to share.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yes, you need write-offs, and personal training is the perfect way to do that. And you said something that I feel like it just resonated so much in that, you know, none of us came in like having the skills, right, to do network marketing or to be able to sell essential oils. We had to learn those skills, right? And so, yes, you learn from your upline and from your team, right? But so much of it still is reliant on you, right? We're all independent distributors. So, like, this is something that really falls on us to do as well. So, you are the asset, which I think is so good. And something that we kept hearing at this last conference that we went to was the team with the best skills, the most skills is the team that's going to have the most success. And what that means is the team that really puts their time, their effort, right, into making sure their team has the skills, right, to do their business, right, is going to grow. And so it resonated with me so much that yes, right, ongoing personal development really needs to be like the priority. Okay. It doesn't matter where you're coming in from. We all come in from a different place with our prior experience, our prior jobs, right? Like our personalities. We all are coming in at a different place. And this, personal development training, right, helps us to understand and learn and fill in the gaps that maybe we didn't know. And also just learn from each other. I will tell you, I was typing in the comments, but for anybody who's watching the replay, I will tell you 2020, right? 2020 was a very 2020 year, right? Like that's kind of like the meme. But I will tell you, going to this personal development training in December, I mean, I was like on a high for like weeks and I was like, yes, 2021, best year ever. Like I was ready. Like it really just energized me. It energized me. I was so excited, right? I was like, yes. And like to have that feeling and to be able to do that, right, with the people who were at the event with me, like we were all, here's a funny thing, right? Virtual events, you're like, gosh, how is a virtual event going to be really fun? I will tell you, we made it fun. We were chatting, we did FaceTime with each other, we were sharing ideas. I mean, it really just felt like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. So, virtual training makes it so easy, but if you can, right, do it with someone, whether you're doing it together virtually or you're doing it in person, which is an even better. I mean, go for a weekend. That's what we're talking about, right? Like weekend at the beach, do the training next year, right? There's all kinds of different ways that you can do it that just make it so fun, right? Chelsea's like, I'm down. I love it. Okay, so Stacy, do you have anything else to add before we invite the other ladies to come in and share?
No, I would love to hear from the other ladies.
Okay. So make sure you've got your notebook out. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to be sharing some things that we learned from GoPro. So GoPro is an event, again, done by Eric Worre. It's an annual event. Someone had asked earlier, what are some training and events that we would recommend? There are so many out there. What I would say is first, lean into what Young Living offers. Young Living offers convention. We don't know yet when the dates are coming out, but convention is phenomenal. There's also beauty school. If you didn't know this, Young Living, I believe it's every Monday, they do the Daily Dose of Valor, right? Where they have someone from Young Living speaking about either a product or a business tip or a skill. So lean in to what Young Living already has. I mean, a lot of the resources are free or very, very inexpensive. I would say for anybody who's brand new, I highly recommend convention should be your top priority because that's really where you get to learn about Young Living as a company. That's where you really get to learn about the farms, Gary and Mary Young. You get to learn about the products. The first convention I went to, I was like, I don't know, should I do this? I don't really know. This is how I always get. I don't know. Whenever you feel like that, I guess, apathetic, right? That's how I get. I don't know. And then I go and I'm like, oh gosh, that was like the best thing that I ever went to. So when I feel like I know that's a tell, that's a self-awareness thing about me. When I feel like that, I'm like, I have to get my butt there because I know I'm going to learn something amazing. And I remember coming away from the first convention going, holy cow, I never knew that about the company. I mean, you learn from your upline, you hear from the groups, even on the Young Living website, or maybe you went to Daily Dose of Valor and learned something. There is nothing like being there in person and being immersed, hearing the culture, hearing from members and people who work at Young Living, going to the farm, like that whole experience, really, there's nothing that will compare. So hands down, number one, get yourself to convention. And then two, take advantage of other events. Sometimes Young Living will do, it's called On the Grow. They might be calling it something different, but they come to like, a town near you. Get there, bring people with you so that they can learn about it. It's almost like a mini convention, but take advantage of what Young Living already has, okay? So definitely do that. Second is, ask your upline, like, what are some events that you recommend? For me personally, my top two faves are Richard Bliss-Brooke, who's doing a training right now, okay? And then there's another one, he's doing a training that's gonna start in a couple of weeks called Momentum Masterclass. He wrote the 4-Year Career. A third is Eric Worre, okay? And if you want more resources beyond that, I would highly recommend, asking your upline and saying, what helped you? Or asking other people on the team, like, what personal development helped you, okay? But there's tons of different coaches and trainers and everything out there. I like learning from others, especially who are in network marketing, because I feel like they're speaking my language. They can give me tips that I can use to grow my business. So I do like that. And I will tell you, I have a digital marketing background. A couple of years ago, I went to a digital marketing conference, right? Had nothing to do with network marketing, but I personally love that. And I learned a lot. And some of what they said coincided with what we were learning from GoPro this year, which was pretty phenomenal. So if there's something like an area of interest, maybe your background, your skill, maybe you used to be a photographer, right? And there's something that's really interesting to you, right? That could be a great opportunity as well. So those are the ones that I would recommend. Stacey, are there any others that off the top of your head that you would recommend as well?
I feel like you covered them. Those are all the really good ones.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so who's ready? Who's ready to learn what we learned from GoPro? I want to tell you, these better get your notebook out, get ready to take lots of notes. We took so many notes. It was so good. And so I hope what you hear, right, you can learn and put into use. But I would love to invite let's see, I saw Carissa. I know Allison is on here as well, but I would love to invite you guys. And I want to tell you, personal development isn't for a specific rank. Personal development is for every rank, whether you're just starting out and you just got your kit, or you're a Crown Diamond, right? Or Royal Crown Diamond. It's for every rank. So I would love to invite you guys to come and tell us what were your favorite things that you learned. I see Carissa. How about we invite Carissa to come on?
Hi, thank you, Tracy. So I just want to jump on the train of going with the community. Like, I don't know any of you, but it feels like we became a sisterhood, which was so amazing. And I just started Young Living, I think, in October. So I don't know anything about the product or network marketing or anything like that. And I just thought, when I went to the GoPro challenge, the 7-day challenge, and I just thought like I needed to do this. And I have a daughter and she's 2, so she takes a lot of time, and my husband works full time. And I said to him, please, can you just work something out? I need you to help me. This training is going to be hectic, but I need the help. And with you guys as well, because the training was the whole night through for us. So it started at 6 p.m. and it went over to 4 p.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. It was quite hectic, and having a community to keep you awake. Maybe you fell asleep and you missed 2 minutes. They're there to help you. And that was really, really amazing. And I definitely recommend GoPro. So what I've personally been working on, and I think it's really amazing, is fit. So getting fit. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, it stood out for me. I don't do social media. I don't enjoy social media. I'm very shy. Yeah. And I've been trying to create or talk to people to create leads in order to grow my business. But I've been struggling so much, and me and my husband were talking earlier today, and just from putting in a bit of energy, making daily posts, 1 or 2 posts a day, has actually brought in more leads that I've been actually talking to people. It's a lot less effort because you're getting a wider market and you're getting more leads. So instead of working on one person, continuously asking, how can I help you? What do you need? I have this, I can recommend this, continuously following up and spending that energy on someone that isn't going to buy your product or appreciate your efforts or anything like that. You're actually creating people that wants your products and comes to you and says, listen, I'm interested, please help me. And I've just realized how amazing it is just to put yourself out there. And that's one thing. Getting out of your comfort zone is one of those things. Going live, talking to you guys, like, freaks me out. But that's the part of growing. And tomorrow it might be easier to do a live video or to explain how you drink your Ningxia because we're doing the Ningxia challenge, or what you're putting in your water, or how you're cooking, or things like that. It just helps people to realize what's going on. Instead of you posting, I'm doing Young Living, do you want to be a part of it? Show them how you live via Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Jump on the trends, memes, things like that. Ask people questions. There's so many things you can do just to interact with people. And the thing is, you need to create, what I learned is also you need to create relatable content, something that someone thinks, geez, I want to share that. First, create footsteps. And that's what I'm trying to do. Have inspirational quotes, share your everyday life. People want to relate to you. People want to talk to you if you're more relatable, because they feel like you're approachable. And if you put yourself above the rest, people don't find you approachable, and you lose a whole big market. So if you are relatable, it doesn't need to be perfect. If your hair is messy, or you don't have makeup on, or your daughter is shouting in the background, or your house is messy, that's not what people care about. They care about, I relate to you. How are you going to help me? And that has really helped me a lot. And that's what I'm focusing on. And it's actually doing a great big deal for me at the moment. And I would definitely recommend GoPro. It's the first event I went to, but it like you said, Tracy, you were on such a high, and I felt that high, and I'm still on that wave. Like, yes, okay, it's not that bright anymore, but I can still feel. And as I'm posting every day and growing momentum, I just feel that high coming back slowly and surely, and it just growing, and the confidence growing, and things like that. And I've actually gone and downloaded a positive affirmations app, and I think it's every 30 minutes or every hour, it just puts out a positive affirmation. And with that, I can actually see things in my life changing. On my phone, I have my goals. So, for example, I want to earn, for this year, I want to make $1 million, R1 million for the year. So that's about 85 grand a month. So I put that on my wallpaper of my phone. So every time I unlock my phone or I check to see my messages, that's what I see. Put your goal, put your rank, put your monthly income that you want, put it on your phone, because every time you see it, you're sending a message out there saying, I claim this. And you might not know how you get there or what you're going to do, what's coming your way, but in the end, if you put in the effort and if you work hard at it, it will come your way. Just keep staying positive. And I think that's also why I downloaded the app, is just to give you that little boost. And it's funny, sometimes I see one of the affirmations come up and I'm like, geez, okay, I was actually just saying I'm so grateful for my family, and it comes up on my app. Or I would think, I'm so grateful to walk outside with my dog and my daughter, instead of sitting in an office at work where you have to wear a mask all the time and sanitize and this and that. And every time I think of something, then the app also brings up something, then I'm like, geez, that just puts it a bit more in a clearer perspective. And that's really, really amazing. And yeah, that's all from me. Thanks, Tracy.
Oh, that was so good, Carissa. Like so many nuggets. And can we please, like in the comments, give her and Chrissy like lots of love. Like they stayed up until 4 a.m. Talk about dedication. I was like, oh my gosh, how are you guys doing this? Like they were like lots of coffee, right? And so we would, we would try to like keep them up, but you guys were total rock stars. But how hungry are you for the information that you're willing to stay up until 4 a.m.? So huge kudos to you. You guys are freaking rock stars. So, so proud of you. Also rock stars for like, I'm still kind of new to this business, but I'm doing it, right? Like I'm going all in and I just love that like attitude, right? Like I'm going all in. Like don't ever feel like, well, maybe it's not the right time. I'm not at this rank. There's a lot going on. Like we all relate. We've all got kids and crazy busy schedules, but being hungry and saying, I'm doing it anyway. I don't know how. I will tell you, this will get you through a lot of things. I don't know how, but I'm going to figure it out, right? I don't know how I'm going to keep my kids busy until, and watch this thing until 4 a.m., but I'll figure it out, right? And just do it scared, figure it out later, commit and figure it out. I'm telling you, all the things will fall into place versus waiting, right? And not committing. You just got to commit. So thank you so much, Carissa. You are amazing. Okay. How about Allison? I see Allison on here. Would love to have you share, girl.
Hey guys, excited to be here to share with you guys. I have like my mind is going a mile a minute because the GoPro was so good. 2020 was one of those like hard years. Like this is no joke to anybody, but like being an essential worker, having to be a rehab director when I'm not one, having 3 kids all at home, having a military husband home all the time, that's brand new, all sort of things. And so the world kind of blew up. So when this came about and Tracy was like, do you guys want to go? I am one of those people that say yes often because I'm like, I'll say yes. I'm sure this will be good. But then I didn't think about it. I didn't talk about it. I didn't do anything. And then I showed up thinking that it was going to be another virtual conference that wasn't going to go the way that it planned, meaning I wasn't going to be able to sit in front of the computer. I wasn't going to be able to focus. I wasn't going to be able to do all the things. Day one, the first thing out of his mouth was like, say yes, what it is. I wrote it down. Say yes, tell the world, and figure it out. And I was like, I'm in. Like, okay, I am here for a reason. Let's do this. And everything that was like spoken was just like eye-opening. So Tracy said it earlier, like depending on where you are in your business or life, you're going to pick up on different nuggets than everybody else did. They're going to relate to you differently. And that's the best thing about personal development conferences, because then you come back to your little community chats. Whether it be over dinner in person or at the beach house or on a chat thread, and you all kind of talk about it and you're like, oh my God, I missed that. I didn't hear that, but yes, that's good. And that's good. And that's good. So that was really amazing. But a couple of the things that really stood out to me in personal development that they talked about was fear and kind of like that stuck. So in 2020, I'm in a point of stuck. Like I'm just going to be honest in myself and business and life. So everything that I heard kind of went towards that. And so I'm going to talk like probably a mile a minute about the fear talk, who was spoken by, and I can't ever remember people's names, Trent, Tracy, Stacy, Carissa, help out. Trent, he's an old ex-football player, but he was phenomenal. Talked faster than me and had so many nuggets. But one of them is like, fear is a self-made prison keeping you from a better version of yourself. Okay. So like, think about it. If you're scared of something, isn't that something always worth it? Right? In the end, if you think forward, it's totally worth it. So fear of success, fear of failure, whatever the case may be, it's always worthwhile to like get through it. So I was like, I love this. And then he gave tips. He was like, do something that you fear every day for 30 seconds. Because if you fear it, it's worth it, right? So do it, get over it. Confidence creates success. So if you get comfortable being in the fear zone of your life, you're going to open up so many more portals. You're going to open up that success to talk to people. You're going to open up that ability to just do a stupid reel and not feel dumb about it, or whatever the case may be. A TikTok, share about the oils, whatever it is, you can relate it to yourself there. But overcoming that and doing it every day, dancing with your fear, makes you unstoppable. And I just loved that. The other thing that I really liked, I actually have notes, but there's like no rhyme or reason, so give me a second. Is that get comfortable being uncomfortable. So like I was thinking, so I was like, why does that stick and resonate? Because I have been literally, my end game was only what I am. So like I had platformed myself basically, and then I had like convoluted this like person that I'm supposed to be that I'm not. And everything that they spoke about at GoPro was like, be you, you are amazing, you are unstoppable. People obviously, did things because of you. Like, just embrace that. The social media talks were all about, hey, messy sells. People don't actually love a layout. Yeah, the layouts are good, and yeah, there's people that love a layout, like there are. But being me, hearing that was everything, because I got so stuck on like, I have to have a quote, then I have to have a picture, and then I have to have this, and then I have to have a quote, and then I have to have a picture, and then I have to have this. So it was really nice to just hear, be messy. That's authentic. You will grab more people that way. And then something that Krista just said about being authentic and being you made me remember. She's not on this call, but I'll forever remember this moment when I was starting up the business part that I wanted nothing to do with. Was Courtney Strem. It's actually her birthday today. She was doing like a oily post, but her daughter or her son was like potty training, and she had to like continue with her like oily post that she was in a Facebook Live video while assisting her daughter or son on the toilet. And I was like, girl, if you can do this and you are like killing it, I can do this, because that is literally my life. So it just made me realize that it's important to go back and be you, not get stuck in the details, and just kind of muddle through facing your fears every day to get to your story and your greatness. So many other tidbits, but that's probably like my main one, is just to face it and be amazing, and you'll get over the hump of whatever is stopping you. As I said, I could go on to something else, but I'll end there and let Carmen talk, because I think she's on the call. Thanks, guys.
You are amazing, Allison. That was so good. If you write nothing else, like messy sells. Oh, that was so good. I totally wrote that one down, and it's so true and such a great reminder when we're trying to compare and be perfect and see the perfect feed, and then we don't do it because we're overwhelmed, right? So messy sells. Okay, love that. Thank you so much, Allison. I'm like getting all excited just like hearing you speak. I feel like we're back there right now. Carmen would love to have you come on and share.
Hi, everyone. And so I'm Carmen Iris, and I'm very excited to be here with you sharing the things that I learned during the GoPro training. And there are 3 things that stick with me during that time, and everything. But these 3 things are the ones that they spoke to me, and I'm already implementing them, doing my business. And I can piggyback with Allison with her 2020 year, because she was telling her story and I can relate with her completely. My husband, he's active duty. He has been at home full time all this time. So he's actually seeing with a different, now he has a different perspective now about the business, because he sees all the things that I do every day and how I manage to squeeze everything in. And also having the kids in school at home and all of that. So it was like an eye opener to me as well, of how I need to take control of my time, and time management is so important doing this business. So I would say that I have been learning a lot about that. And during the training, one of the 3 things that I learned, one of them it was related about telling my story. I know my story. People knows my story, but when you're in business, you have to actually master that in a way that you can connect with with people, and also in a short amount of time. So one thing that I love during that session, it was that they broke us into groups, and we needed to actually tell our story there, and in 2 minutes time frame. So I started telling my story, and the time ran out, and I was still half of my story there. So I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm being taking too much time and to tell my story. It's not that you cannot do that, but it's something that if you do it every day and practice in front of the mirror, since that's what I have been doing since that training, that session, and you get better and better, and this will help you to get the attention of the prospect, and also they can relate with you as well. So I started implementing this in I teach classes every week, and I started doing that to shorten my story, and just to talk about one thing or two things that are important, that actually talks about about my wellness journey, and instead of telling all the 10 things. So that helps me to shorten that time, and also to have allows me to have more time to actually talk about the products and listen to the prospect, what they need, what they're looking for to improve their wellness. So that helps me a lot. And one of the during that session, it was also, they talk about this quote. They said it was, the doors will open to those who are bold enough to knock. So I love that one, because sometimes I'm very scared to knock at doors and ask the leaders for help and things like that, or to even contact a friend that I know that is struggling with something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do that. But I have been improving in that. And but another guest of the training, he said that that is a good quote, but he said that you get, when you have a lot of courage when you actually walk through the door, not just only to knock, but to walk in. And so that was like, okay, I need to do that, and it has been working. The second thing that a tip that actually has helped me since the training is that, I don't know you, but I'm signed up. I have joined so many Facebook groups that are related, that has something that the same like me, that the same interest, and but I don't actually get any engagement from them. So they said that if you find 5 groups that has the same interest of you, and look for 5 posts in the last 25 posts of that group, to look for that post and go ahead and post there, engage, like to comment on that specific post. And that, if you do this like every day or every other day, that will increment, and if people will see you there, that you are somebody that is actually bringing something good to the group. It's not that you're looking just to show your product or whatsoever. They get that engagement with you. So I'm in like 10 military spouses group, and I never get like a lot of engagement with them, because I just comment on something once in a while. But I have been doing this, and I see people that actually they know me, and they started like, oh yes, and they also comment in my post. So I like that, and I think that that is a genius way to create engagement in those type of groups, prospecting groups. Another thing that that stick with me was about fear. And I know that everybody at certain point of their life with Young Living, doing the business, we experience fear. But for me, it was this experiencing the fear of language. I'm here talking to you right now, and I'm like, or nerves. And I know that I can communicate with people in English, but my primary language is Spanish. And but then during this training, I was like, why, if I'm so good in my own language, why I'm not doing the business in my own language? So that is something that actually brought to me, like an aha moment, and said, what you're doing, there's a lot of people that speak Spanish, they need these products, and they're struggling, and they need to know about this. So that if you have any type of fear, just go ahead and give it a slap on the face or something, and just do it. Don't wait, and or don't double think about what you need to do, and just do it. We have the support here, and right now, something also with the fear is that because you're so nervous about it, that you're not listening of what the prospect is actually saying, that is screaming at you what they need. So that is something that is spoke to me, because I need to listen in order for me to deliver what they're needing. So they can be saying that they need to improve their health, that they need to more community, or they need more financial stability. And guess what? Young Living has those three things, and you have it. So let's go ahead and share that with them, no matter what is your fear. And let's see, do I have something else? Oh, and my word for 2021 is intentional. I want to be intentional in everything that I do. And so if you didn't understand anything that I said right here in English, raise your hand. Okay, I don't see any. Okay, so I'm breaking up with my fear. And I think that is everything for me.
Thank you, Carmen. That's awesome. I'm just going to jump in real fast and share a few of the things that I took away from GoPro, and these ladies have covered a lot of it. Thank you so much. But one thing that I just want to touch on that really stuck with me, because we saw multiple presenters speak on it and they were really powerful, and that's about the importance of your story. And I'm not going to dive into it too deeply because we're going to do a whole separate call to talk about your story. But it's just something to really keep in your mind, is telling your story. And your story might it might not be a product story. It might be a business story. It could be both. So sharing your story with people is what is, super powerful. Learning how to tell it is so important. And we already have some resources. I know Tracy has some resources in her group already about storytelling. We're going to have another call all about it. But I mean, it's so important. It's a huge part of what we do, right? So that was one big thing. And I love what Carmen said about, I think it was Fraser Brooks' 5x5x5 strategy. I was going to share that too, because I think it's so powerful. One of the things that we heard over and over is, you don't want to be, in terms of social media, you want to be creating content, not consuming content, right? You don't want to be stuck in like the scroll hole. That's not working. You want to be creating content. But you also want to be connecting and building relationships, right? Network marketing is taking strangers and turning them into friends. So to do that 5x5 strategy is really great, because the concept is, you find those 5 Facebook groups that are related to your interests, whatever those are: dogs, knitting, cats, hamsters. And then you find those 5 posts in there and you comment, and eventually you connect with the people, because people are going to see you regularly. This doesn't work if you're not consistent. You have to be consistent, or people will see your name once and they're not going to click on your profile. They're not going to add you as a friend. You're not going to make that connection, because, if you just show up once, no one's going to resonate with that or react to that. So I love that strategy too, Carmen. I thought it was great. One of the other things, I'm looking at my notes, Dean Grazioso, I think that's how you say his name. He spoke, and he was very, very inspirational. I loved his message. But one of the things he said was that people buy from you when they feel understood, not when they understand you. And I think that's so important for us, because I know for me, sometimes I feel like I need to explain everything about every oil, and no one's ever going to buy an oil if they don't know everything. So I'm going to make them understand everything. But that's not what it's about at all. It's about me understanding them, knowing what their needs are, seeing where they're coming from, making them feel like, God, she gets me, she knows me. That's when someone's going to be like, yes, I'm ready to take whatever you're offering, because you get me, you know me. So it's really about understanding our prospects and our friends and our family so well. So I thought that was really powerful, and I liked that. He also did a whole great thing about how to tell your story. and the whole concept was hook, story, and close, where that hook is like how you really kind of get people interested. And he talked about the importance of really just like the first few things you say when you're sharing your story, because it's in those first few moments that someone's going to decide if they want to listen or not, which can be hard because I mean, I'm really not a creative writer or anything like that. So, and like I said, I think we're going to do more on storytelling. So, but just some things to think about and keep in mind. So those are some of my favorite things. I have so many notes. And for me, I am a green personality. So when I go to these events, I love all of the like inspirational, like mindset stuff, but I also really want like tactical things I can walk away with and implement. And like Carmen was saying, that 5 by 5 by 5, like I love that. That's like, you go, you do this every day, you're going to see results. So that was one of the things I wrote down to do. I have a whole list of to-dos after this. And then really, I don't know, a lot of talk about the importance of presenting, being able to speak and present, something I am constantly working on and trying to improve. One last thing, this was one of the things I wrote down. So for every speaker, I tried to pick one thing that I would do or implement or research or consider or whatever. They had one speaker who talked a bit more about like financial mindset, which is really important when we think in terms of our whole business. And one of the things he said that I know I don't ever do, and I think is really important, is that when you get that monthly paycheck, you need to pay yourself first. You need to pay yourself 10% of it into whatever, account is just for you, for building your own wealth. Because for me, I know a lot of it is like, well, I earmark this towards our bills, and then this goes towards, reinvested back into my business and all this, and, the services I pay for, and then that's it. So, when you're thinking about this business, your financial health, financial wellness, putting that aside every month for building your wealth is really important. So that is what I'll leave you with.
Oh, that's so good, Stacy. Before I jump in, I just wanted to make sure, I think Chrissy was going to be on, but I don't see her. But just in case she has like a different like handle versus like her name, I just wanted to see if she was on here. But she also joined from South Africa and stayed up until 4 a.m. Yeah, I don't see her on, but just in case, I wanted to see if she had a different name. Okay, so it's so funny because
Chrissy.
Oh yes, is Chrissy here?
No, sorry. She messaged us earlier just to say she had a family emergency and she's so sorry. Unfortunately she can't come. So it's very sad because I would have loved to hear from her as well because I look up to her so much, but unfortunately she can't be here.
Oh, thank you so much for that update, Chris. I think I just missed it. Okay, sending lots of love to you, Chrissy. I just wanted to say I loved hearing what everyone said. Stacy and I are very, very similar. I have like a red-green personality, so I love like meat and details, but I also like things that I can remember. So 5 by 5 by 5. 4 things to grow personal development, like those things like really like set in my brain. It's like magazine titles, right? Like that really sets in my brain. And yes, we're going to do like a whole talk on how to tell your story, but I wanted to give you like 30 seconds. Pat Quinn like was out of this world. Like, I don't know if he has a book or a podcast, but he was out of this world when it came to how to break down the storytelling. And we'll go into a lot more detail. But here is kind of just like a quick thing before the pivot and now. That's kind of like the basics of telling your story. And what he was saying was you shouldn't take 20 minutes to tell your story. Like literally you should be able to tell your story in like 2 minutes, right? So, it's a great way to kind of like get feedback for yourself of like practice telling your story, like in front of a mirror, right? Or just saying it to yourself and then go, how long did that take? Was that 20 minutes? Because that's way too long, right? Because here's something to remember when you're telling your story. And this is something that I wanted to really iterate is they talked about telling your story for probably like 30% of the content at GoPro. When I went to this digital marketing conference that had nothing to do with network marketing 2 years ago, I feel like most of what they talked about was telling the story. right? Telling the story of the brand, because people will buy anything when they resonate with the story. Does this make sense? So, this is what Pat Quinn said. Okay, so I'm going to just break down real quick, and then I have something else to share. Is you need to tell yourself you have a story that changes lives. Great stories don't take 20 minutes. They're simple to tell, simple to listen to, and simple to remember. Okay, and there's 3 parts. The before is, what was life like before the change happened? Right? Before you got oils, before you got into network marketing, be able to tell that in like a minute, right? Maybe 2 minutes tops. Then there is the pivot. Okay, what caused the pivot? Did you have a mentor? Did you find the right company? Did someone introduce you to oils, right? Be able to tell your pivot in like 30 seconds. And then the now is, what is life like now after the pivot, right? So you should be able to do this in like a minute, but like, the things that you said in the before, like maybe 3 things. So I'll tell you, like, my oil story, right, is like, husband had autoimmune, right? We were reading, like I talk about those things. And then the now, right after the pivot, when I talk about what life is like now, I make sure that I align back with the things that I mentioned during the before. His autoimmune issues, like no more flare-ups. He's feeling better than ever because he's part of our story, right? So make sure that you can line those things back up, because here is the nugget right here. I was like, oh my gosh, this is gold. If your before resonates with where the other person is, and your after is what they want, they will do anything for the pivot. So do you see why, like what Stacey said, right? Like, you feel like you need to tell them everything about the oils. That's not where the time needs to be spent. This time that you need to spend is, how do you show them that you relate to them, that their before is your before, right? In some way or another. Maybe it's not an autoimmune story, but they can relate to a health struggle, right? That's kind of like where my story is. And then the after is, the after what they want. They will do anything for that pivot. Give me that kit, right? Tell me about this business. So I really love that. So before, pivot, now. One more thing that I will say that they didn't talk about here, but I learned at a previous conference, is when you're telling your story, we think we're the star of the YouTube channel or the movie, right? Like, we think we're the star. We're not the star. We're the guide. So like in Star Wars terms, right? We're not Luke Skywalker, we're Obi-Wan Kenobi. So as you're telling your story, right? The before, the pivot, the now, you want the other person to envision themselves there. You're guiding them, right? Because it's their story. So here's the precursor with my story, but now let's focus on your story. Does that make sense? That's why you don't want your story to take 20 minutes, right? You want it to be real quick. So be sure you come to our call. I think it's at the end of the month. Don't quote me. I think it's the 4th Thursday of this month. I can't remember the date, but we're going to do a deep dive into all the strategies and how to tell your story. So hopefully you're like, yes, I'm going to make sure I get my butt there. The other thing, and I think we need to do a deeper dive on this as well. Again, I love things like this. It's called ACTS, ACTS, okay? And so I'm just gonna kind of just go through it real quick. But this was from Eric Worre, ACTS, okay? So acronym, okay? A is assignments, C is campaigns, T is tools, S is symptom, or not symptoms, systems, not symptoms, systems. So it's just 4 things that you can use, right, to help your team, whether it's someone who is coming into oils, whether it's someone who's coming into the business. So I'll explain real quick. So assignments are your number 1 tool. They really help to create independence, right? It helps you to figure out who's willing, coachable, and hungry, okay? So you can start off with like a level 5 assignment and kind of see where they are. And then maybe they need to go level 3 or level 1 or level 10, depending on where they are and how hungry they are. So what are these assignments? We do some of these things all the time, right? Like for a new builder, it's okay. How about you grab 5 friends and let's co-teach a class together. You go invite and do the follow-up. I'll help you to co-teach, and you kind of see where they are with that. I mean, you could do this even with oils, right? Like you got your kit. So now let's walk you through, right? Like each day you're going to learn about 2 different oils, like, right? Like those are assignments. These are simple things that people can do. You can easily duplicate with anybody. So assignments, again, teaches independence for that person, and can just be a really great way for them to learn. Okay, a campaign, right, is a short-term, exciting, like really action building, like a 10-day challenge, right? Like we're doing like a 30-day ninja reset, right? So, or a 10-day new business challenge, right? Like we do the Rise Challenge with our new people who are interested in the business. So it's kind of like, you know, you're teaching them in a, they've sort of got these assignments, but it's within a period, right? It's a defined period of time, which can be really great. So whether it's for business or for oil education, right? Like you can create all kinds of campaigns. Okay, tools. We have many different tools, right? Zoom, video, brochure, product, webinar, your upline, right? A podcast, a Facebook group. That's probably a big one for us, right? So you get people involved and you help them learn through tools that you have on your team, right? Like we all have a Facebook group. We all use Zoom and online classes. We all, right, we're doing a book club. That's another tool to help train and educate people. So you can use tools in sort of different ways, whether it's for prospects. I know some of you have even done like a Facebook group for prospects or a call for prospects, right? That's a tool. You've done it for your members. You've done it for your business builders. So tools are just things that you have. And what's nice about it is even if it's a, I've done this with Ashley Dieppe before, like when we teach our How to Build a Paycheck call, I have a script that I use, right? So that I can do that call. When you teach a one-on-one class, you have a script that you can use, right? You're not having to recreate the wheel all the time. The tool is always there and it's duplicable. Anybody can use it. And then this is my favorite thing because this is my green coming out, is S is for system. A system eliminates the guesswork. A system makes people comfortable. When it's simple, they know that they can do it, right? Everybody is like on board, right? So everybody knows it, everybody does it, it works. So a system, right, that we have, right, is like our new member onboarding system, right? Like here's a set of videos, right? Here's a text series, here's a Facebook group, right? I think most of us have an email that we send out to people or something that we send out and we go 1, 2, 3, here's everything. By the way, here's your sign up link, right? So that's like a system. You know, there's also like a system for onboarding new business builders. There's a system for personal development, skill development. Like there's so many different things. And like, honestly, he gave me so many ideas with this that we're not even doing yet. Again, this is the benefit of going to an event is you're learning new ideas. Like Stacy said earlier, we came up with the new member onboarding system 4 years ago, eating tacos. That's how we came up with it. We got a big notebook and we're like, yes, 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 this is what our new members need to know. I still remember that we were eating tacos at the time. So systems can just be a really great way because when everybody knows the system, they can plug in, right? You know, when you have a new member, you plug them into the Facebook group, then you tag them on the pin post, then you invite them to, you know, an Oily Underground call or to your team calls, right? You know the system. When everybody knows the system, there's no guesswork, right? It makes it really easy. And guess what? That person will teach their new member the same system, right? So it's, you're making it easier for the next person to do it. So I really just love that. I love acronyms, but I just love how he really kind of nailed it down. And again, if you want to do a deep dive on this, maybe we should make this a future call, but so much more that we could be sharing. We could really spend probably all day talking about all the things that we learned. But that was amazing. I just love that. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you for posting the call details for how to tell your story. Thank you. Okay, so we're just gonna wrap it up now. Yes, it would be good to have an axe call, right? Where we really get into the meat and the details. This was like a, look at all the things you could have learned, right? At GoPro, you could still get your ticket. It's gonna be next December. Some of us are gonna meet up at a beach house. So you tell me, you wanna come with us, right? Comment. But here's the thing, whether it's convention should be number one, right? Lean into what Young Living is already offering. Lean into events that your upline is promoting, right? Like ask them, what event do you think would be really good for me, right? Get their opinion. But I'm telling you, when you lean into events, or personal development at least once a quarter. There's a new book that you're reading. There's a podcast you're listening to. I love Carissa's positive affirmation app. Like when you're leaning into personal development, right, and always working on trying to improve your skills, we all need to improve our skills. I need to improve my skills always, 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 right? We're always on a process improvement track, right? When you're working on that, I'm telling you, quarterly for me keeps the momentum up. If I only do one event a year, I feel personally like I would slump, get super excited for that event, and then I'd slump again. So this is why I like to do continuous personal development through different things. So we'll post some of our favorite resources again, because I know I talk very fast, and sometimes it's a little easy to miss. But we'll post some resources and things that you can lean into. And here's the thing, training can be free. Training can be very low cost. Training can be very expensive, right? So you have to do what is right for you. But making it a priority will improve your business. It can improve your relationships. I cannot tell you how many times I've come out of a training and I'm like, yeah, I actually need to just do that in life. Like that is just really good. Like I learned some amazing skills with that. So it's just good for life improvement as well. I just wanted to turn it back. Any of the other ladies have anything else to add before we go for the day? Good. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. Stacy, Carissa, Allison, Carmen, you guys are amazing. We so appreciate your feedback and hearing from you. I hope everybody who's here, you learned something, write it down in your notebook. Replay will be available soon. And come to our weekly Thursday calls. Seriously, they're going to be off the hook amazing. You're going to learn a ton. Thank you so much for being here. Have a good day.